I thought that the first half of the film took a while to get going.
It was slow.
Yeah, it took it was a lot of assembly there, a lot of like introducing characters and putting together the whole constructing the entire scheme. Because I watched it in two parts. I watched the first half and I'm like, I can't keep my eyes open any longer because it's just taking forever to get going. But I came back just when he got nailed and ran away from the cops. And from that point on, it was great.
Right, that's the movie there.
That's the movie.
You can reduce the first part to like 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
And then the big drug deal goes bad. Oh gosh, what a surprise!
We
all thought it was going to go smoothly.
And
you don't get enough
just like in Uncut Gems. He's such a proverbial fuck up. It's like, why would he believe that anything would go smoothly?
Right.
But well, it's like a great story about someone trying to put together a scheme and just not working. You know what I mean? It just
at least he wasn't gambling on top of it.
Well, I can't
great scheme. He didn't have a great scheme. He never had a great scheme.
His scheme was basically kiting.
Yeah,
he would he would use the float to like do some new thing. It's like, I'm gonna get that money back, and he goes from like 50,000 to 280,000 during the.
By the way, I did the math. That's like $55,000-$60,000 in today's money. So that's not a small amount of cash. Like
right, 60,000 would be like 10 grand.
Right.
Yeah. In 1996 dollars.
I don't know. It's like, I didn't think it was terrible, but it's just give me the money. I don't have the money. I need more time. You better get the money. I've seen this movie so many times. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I liked Milo the best, I think. I thought he was the guy who plays Frankie. I just was like phoning it in, I felt. And Mads was marvelous. It was great to see him like thin and crazy.
He got pretty much beat to death halfway through the film.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a murder charge after that. The way he beat him up.
Stars in the second one.
And the third one.
Yeah.
And Milo is the lead in the third one.
Right.
How many fucking movies did they make? Is it three?
They made three.
Wow.
Isn't the second one about Mads' character?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. They shifted focus a bit.
I'm actually. I'll get to. I was going to go last, but I will watch the other two.
Are they free or?
Yeah, they're all three on Amazon.
Yeah, okay. I'll probably watch.
This was a hard movie to get a hold of for a really long time.
Yeah.
And to see it pop up on Amazon, I was like, oh fuck, here's my chance.
Yeah,
I write down like it was interesting to me on one level because it's fun to see Mads and. Who else watches Killing Eve?
No, I don't watch.
We watched about a season and a half.
So the Russian guy, like the lead, is a big part of Killing Eve. Like he's all in all the seasons, and so it's kind of fun to see him younger.
He's also
again, Tad.
He's also Vesemir on Witcher season 2,
and also he wasn't the guy in 2012. This is the Russian oligarch.
He might be.
I think he was. He's fun to watch. That's what I remembered him from, is him being like this big Russian guy who like leaves his girlfriend behind to get on the plane to go escape, the apocalypse. And
that's funny because he's not Russian; he's like Croatian.
Yeah,
he did a pretty good job.
Well, yeah, they had a lot of opportunity to watch those guys.
Also, style-wise, this was made in '96, right? And
it came out in '96.
Dogma '95 was codified the previous year.
Right.
And it really sticks to the rules, even though it's not a Dogma 95 film. Close in hand.
They definitely weren't using artificial lighting.
Oh, artificial
lighting.
You
took the words right out of my mouth.
About real situations. It's like
it was clear they didn't turn any lights on.
No, they did not. It was a shame they didn't have better. Like they're using like push 16 millimeters, so it looked kind of crappy. The whole film kind of looked kind of nasty.
It's a little grubby.
Yeah. Refn intentionally wanted his characters to be in shadow for a lot of the movie, though. That was an intentional choice.
That's an intentional rationalization.
That was part of, but that's part of the reason that he had to do handheld for so much of it, because he had to get really close to them in a lot of the scenes because there was so little light.
Yeah. Well, and they just couldn't afford the time for setup stuff because they shot it as a union picture, which I can't imagine what this, movie unions are like in Scandinavia.
Well, they have smaller productions, so it's not a huge deal. You know what I mean? It's not like the whole company's writing on this stuff. You know, so
Right.
yeah. So it's everything. Of course,
With
is
half your budget going to Teamsters. movies.
exactly. So it's kind of semi-nationalized anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it was pretty inexpensive to make in that respect.
7 million krone in 1996.
That's
A
nuts.
little
So
over $1 million,
Mhm.
basically.
How'd it do?
it did really well in Denmark.
Oh,
It
yeah.
actually got sold. It got sold in I think 30 other countries. So for
Yeah.
a small independent film in Denmark, it did quite well.
No,
Yeah.
that's good.
This couldn't be further from everything he basically made after these movies.
What's
Like,
his most prominent film? I'm just curious.
Drive.
Drive.
Okay.
But I mean,
What else, but what
Bronson-
else did he make?
Bronson, that thing with Mads with the Vikings and shit. Tad, help me out. What's that one called? Valhalla? No, Valhalla
No.
Rising.
Yes.
Okay.
Drive. Only God Forgives.
Hmm.
The Neon Demon, and then that thing he did for Amazon, that series he did for Amazon, starring the kid from Whiplash. All of which are hyper stylized, extremely glossy, fetishistic. By the way, I love all of them, like with a capital L, like a lot. I love these.
This is not that.
This is so not that. And the other thing I'd say is, while watching it, was I was constantly thinking about Train Spotting, which came out the same year,
Uh-huh.
and to a slightly lesser extent, Guy Ritchie's Lock, Stock, and Snatch, which came out a couple of years afterward, is like similar kinds of vibes. But what those movies had was a sort of snap and a level of humor
Yeah.
that this movie lacks, and
Yeah.
maybe that's not what he was going for.
And
I
really good
enjoyed it.
production values.
I enjoyed it enough to watch the next. I will watch the other two,
Uh-huh.
but it was more of a, so this is how he got going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the
Because I
money
can't-
from one train spot, you could have made 20 pushers.
I cannot make the
Yeah.
leap from these movies though to Bronson, Valhalla Rising, and Drive. Like it's like a
Well, he raised the money himself for this, right?
even
he made a short.
style thing.
Okay.
Drive and Only God Forgives are both also about kind of shitty low level criminals
Yes.
and do have the sort of fairly brutal violence that this movie has too.
They're way more brutal, I thought.
Well, but he didn't have the money to
Yeah.
get that.
Do
But
any of
you
the
can see,
script.
but
Was
you
this
can see.
was it Dogma 95?
Well, I
It's-
just discussed that. It's got
following the
a Dog
playbook.
95 elements in it, but it may or may not actually be a Dog 95 film. You know.
I've seen it referred to as Dogma 95.
Okay.
They definitely didn't use any fucking lights. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
You stole my line.
But like, I mean, like the suicide scene, like you can tell that he wanted that to be more brutal than it was. The
Yeah.
fight, the torture scene definitely wanted to be more brutal than it was.
I'm
so
not
like,
sure about that, Tad, because every chance he had to show graphic violence, like he beats Tawny with the baseball bat, but he's behind the bar. You can't see him.
but
When
that's
he gets
Right,
when the
you
guy
see it
commits
after he
suicide,
leaves.
when the guy commits suicide, it's off camera. When
Well,
he's
what I'm s-
about to get tortured, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? It's like
what
he
I'm
pulled
saying
that.
is what I'm saying is I think that he wanted to do it and he didn't have the money to do it.
Yeah.
In fact, they
thought
had to
that
go back. They had to go back and reshoot the scene at the very end when he shoots the guy in the leg and then shoots at the other guy because he
Yeah.
didn't use squibs the first time around because he didn't have the money for it.
Oh yeah.
So at the end of the picture, he had the money to get a squib basically to do the leg shot, and they went back and redid it. So like,
right.
I say walking the set with his precious squib in his hand, saying, "Okay, sit still."
but you
Okay.
barely like, and
We only got one take.
We've only got one take.
I'll bet
Hey, I've
that
been
Mads.
there before.
I'll bet Mads looked pretty shitty, like because they looked like they just dumped some ketchup on him and walked away. You
No,
know,
no.
like
No, the thing in the head looked really good because, like, you can see,
Yeah.
that looked pretty nice.
He-
But
he had-
it
he
was,
had,
it was
like,
done off screen. I think it's so they can do it repeatedly. You know,
yeah.
it was a budget thing. I agree with you, Tad. It wasn't like
Also,
look
well,
away.
and also the main character Frank, that actor came in like a week into shooting. They,
Oh,
they
wow.
replaced the original main character because he was
Wow.
giving too low energy of a performance.
Mhm.
So
Dan.
they didn't have anywhere near as much rehearsal or practice as you would think that a movie like this would have. And then also, a lot of the other actors had rehearsed with the original guy and were totally freaked out when he was coming in with the energy and intensity that he was bringing. So a lot of their reactions to him are actually genuine reactions.
He was good. He had the energy. You're right. They brought him in to make things intense. He was fucking intense, man.
I thought Radovan was like the most interesting character because just that weird, it's like, okay, we're going to send my muscle guy, Milo. Milo's like, I'm going to send my muscle guy with you to go get the money. And they're just cruising around town and they're having a great old time. It's like a totally professional, approach. It's like, yeah, I don't like beating people up. I wish I could open a restaurant. Ha ha ha. And they're just having a great day. That was like my favorite part of the movie.
Like the coyote, it's like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. It's like they're doing their job.
It's the job.
Their job is.
You're thinking more of the coyote and the sheepdog.
Right. Like
They
without
check in.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
without Frank, Milo isn't going to make. I mean, there will always be Franks lining up, but I mean, like Milo needs Frank to make money.
Right.
So
Well, it did get me to think about, there's a fine line between killing somebody and getting money, extracting money out of them. So that he does do a lot of this, like, oh yeah, I'll have it tomorrow. I'll have it, next Tuesday.
Yeah, I bet you loan sharks actually discount a lot.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna, because if you break your legs, you can't go out and give me money because your legs be broken. So just give me half of what you owe me, and I'll be angry at you.
Right. You don't want
Yes.
to kill them.
Yeah.
Do you see the shot behind Scott?
Yeah.
I mean, did that girl? She really fucking shot up, dude.
well,
Yeah, she was actually injecting something.
That was there was no cut there, dude.
No, it wasn't. She was actually putting something into her veins. It may not have been heroin, but there was an actual injection. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was intravenous.
She was. I felt so
I was
sorry
watching,
for her.
Like, how the fuck did they do that?
No, she just shot up. It might have been just like water or something like that, or saline solution or
But
something.
you can't just put shit in your veins.
You can put saline in.
Yeah, you can just say
In Denmark, you can.
Besides, heroin's legal in Denmark.
I think it is actually. So,
Yeah, which is like, I was confused as to what this, it's like, so why do they want illegal heroin?
That's taking method acting to another level, though.
also, the director is like, well, we should use real heroin for this shot, but I don't want you to be all strung out. So let's just thin it out or use something else,
Well, there's a long-standing rumor that everyone on set used drugs at various points during the film for verisimilitude in it. Also, a lot of the people in this aren't actors.
I believe it.
They're people who Winding Refn knew. But everyone denies that they use drugs on set, but
yeah, who knows?
who can say?
Yeah, that scene behind Tad is my favorite scene because it's just so exhausting to watch. I have no idea how they did it. I mean, what did you put the camera on? Did you put it on like a motorcycle, or did you just run, or because you ran 2.5 city blocks and up onto a ramp and kept going. That when I used the preview is the entire first shot. And it was, and then the next shot is almost as long when you go down to the lake and jumps in.
Yeah.
It was
good.
Come and get me.
Yeah, that was good.
I thought it was a great way to get rid of the soap.
Yeah. Jump in the lake.
He does that. He holds it up and throws it away.
Yeah.
I like the kind of detached, objective, like it wasn't judgmental. It's just like, this is what these guys do every day. Like, I don't know that it was fresh. Maybe it was in 1996 when it came out, but I still, like I said, I like this enough to definitely watch the next two.
Yeah.
I think in 96, this was fresher than it is now. I think we've had a lot of this since then.
Here's a bunch of Danish lowlives. Here's how they live their lives.
Well, it was kind of like TV at some point.
Also, for all we know, this film could have been really funny too, but I don't think humor translates sometimes.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know. But although I was talking about Vic, the girl, I think I felt so bad for her because she just was a bit of a punching bag, but she stole all that money and ran.
By the end, it gets the last.
Well, I was like waiting for a moment to bolt, and she took it, which is.
But much like
the other woman does the thing where she replaces the heroin with
baby laxative.
Yeah.
Right.
She also got the shit beaten out of her for doing it too, which is not good.
Yeah.
I have a question. Who picked her up when she just jumped into a car and got away at the end?
Probably her real boyfriend.
That was convenient. Her real
or
boyfriend.
pimp.
Her pimp, right?
No, who knows?
I gotta have to go rewatch that because
Yeah,
that
maybe
was
she's
Not a
already-
whore. She's a champagne girl.
You
Yeah,
can't
I'm a
see
champagne girl.
you can't see
definitely,
anything. You can't see anything in that scene. It's so dark. Like you
Yeah.
can't. So who the fuck knows? Could have been a cab.
I
Who
remember-
knows?
I remember liking this. I didn't see the sequels, but I rented this on like when it. I mean, I can't remember what year it came to the States, but I rented it. You know, when I was like, it must have been like 97.
Mhm.
96, 97. Yeah.
Yeah. And I, because I was in, you know, we had just come off of all the Tarantino stuff, or the, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
the.
There's definitely
And-
a through line Tarantino to this, don't you think?
For sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
And all the other movies that were mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snatch and all that stuff. It's like,
And,
yeah,
and Dogma. 90.
Lock, stock.
and
I
Dogma
remember
95.
Lock, Stock. I remember liking this a lot, but I don't know why I didn't go on to the sequels, but I thought it had a back then, and like Tad said, maybe it doesn't hold up as much today, but back then, someone said Train Spotting, I think, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back then, like obviously Train Spotting is just almost a little masterpiece, but this had an energy to it that I thought back then. I was like, that's what separates it, I think, for me, is this there's this frenetic energy to this picture that is undeniable.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It has a vibe for sure.
In the back. In the back
Yeah,
half.
it's a weird vibe though, because okay.
All right.
Also, this seems well. Here's
It's a
the
je ne sais quoi.
The other,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other thing, maybe we talk about this because I'm sorry, I'm
Terroir, yeah.
first part, but I don't know if we talked about it yet. But you know, one of the things I liked about this film, watching it, because I hadn't seen it since then, since like '97. I love how realistic this film is in terms of he gets arrested, he goes to the drug dealer's house, and then he kind of just goes home and he's hanging out. And he's still like walking around town and talking to people. It's not like other movies where you're constantly like location hopping on the go. Like it actually shows like what this guy would really be doing.
Right.
Like what
Being shitty to his girlfriend.
Right.
Being
from-
shitty
from
to
an
his
hour-
girlfriend. Yeah.
But even from like an hour to hour moment, like exactly what this dude, you know, he's going over to this other club and he's talking to these people, and like there's like it's life and death shit here, but it's just like, yeah, but I'm still just going on with my day.
They're so
Yes.
casual about it.
It at times it reminded me, and this comes later in chronology wise, Lillehammer, the thing that Steve
Right.
Van
Oh,
Zandt
yeah,
is
yeah.
in.
So, yeah. But I think that, but I love that in terms of like, I mean, this guy's gonna get killed for 230,000 whatever, and he's still just like sitting at home watching a movie.
Also,
But the thing is, I
he doesn't
think,
have anywhere else to go.
Right.
but I also think that he thinks he's going to get away with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Much like Adam Sandler's character in Uncut Gems, he's
Yeah.
got a plan, and
Yep.
when everything clicks together and the plan goes the way that he wants it to go, he's gonna get away with it, and he's gonna
Right.
come out with more than he went in with. And
Right,
so,
except it's
yeah, you're
not
gonna sit
going
at
to
home and
work.
watch a movie.
Because it's a shit plan.
No,
Well,
I,
sure, the thing is,
We
difference-
know that. He doesn't know that.
Yeah, I know he doesn't know that.
I'm glad you brought up Uncut
I
Gems,
actually-
because in
I
the
was-
end, you think about, there are very similar situations where you have the protagonist is trying to raise money really quick, and
Mhm.
Adam Sandler's
Well,
his character
Lola Ren.
thing
too.
actually worked. He's like, see, they're winning.
Yeah.
I got all this money, and they still shoot him. And
Yes, because he fucked up. He fucked up so many times that he didn't
Yeah.
get a do-over.
yeah, right.
but I
So,
don't
but
think
this one,
I
okay,
don't think
this,
this guy had a grand plan though. I think this guy was more like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. But yeah, it's more like what we were talking about before. I mean, I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna sit here for a little bit. Like I don't know. I'm
well,
trying to,
okay, well, let's go around the
Yeah,
horn.
he's a little more seat of the pants than Adam Sandler's character in
Go visit mom and get $50.
it's like at least Adam Sandler was thinking a couple of moves ahead, and this guy was like,
This
you know,
guy
wasn't
is
even
never thinking ahead.
no,
First
there was
no.
it wasn't a chess
His
game, it
mom
wasn't
and
even a
got
checkers
money
game.
off his-
Well, he's expecting to get his money. He's expecting to get his money from his mule, who he sent off with the drugs. So he thinks everything's going to be fine once he gets that,
Mm,
and then
but it's not even enough money. It's like 50.
mm.
So he's just hoping that, you know, and that's why I love
the
this too. Hoping that that's enough good faith with what's his name, Milo, that
Right.
he can
Right.
at least buy a little more time.
If I give Milo 50, he might let me keep my kneecaps.
Yeah,
Right.
right, pretty much.
I actually,
Won't break all my bones.
I actually liked, and the very last shot of the movie was like one of the best examples. I actually appreciated the fact that you guys just mentioned this guy didn't seem to be thinking ahead. He was like literally in the moment at all times. but the movie would kind of give him lots of opportunities to like, you could see on he's got nothing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The last shot of this movie, he's just like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do?
Well, hold on. Let's stop right there. You can go around the horn. The very last shot, the cliffhanger. Do you think it was good, or do you think? And what do you think?
I love that. I love the last shot of the movie.
I don't think it's a cliffhanger.
Until I see number 2, I don't know.
Pretty much 100%
Yeah, is he in the sequel?
That's the
'Cause
thing.
I don't think he's in the sequel.
No,
I
he's
don't know, I
dead.
didn't see
man.
it.
He's
Okay,
dead.
ignoring
Somebody
ignoring
gets
the
to him.
sequel, I knew he was gonna get rubbed out. And that's the thing. It's just
I
there's no
love
way
that they're
to-
they're putting plastic on the kitchen of Milo's house.
And the
His
body-
face, which is, I got nothing.
And the bodybuilders,
Yeah,
and the
that's it.
bodybuilders are
That's all
getting
I have.
guns and getting into a van
yeah,
because they're gonna go
exactly, yeah.
fucking find him too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not
No,
gonna die.
someone's
He's
gonna
he's
get
gonna vanish, man. He's gonna be like
That last scene really pushed this movie over for me. Like, okay,
He should have just went to Spain with his girl once he made that one score.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
which is why he gets punished for it. He says he's not going to do it. She steals the money. He gets punished for being stupid
He
over
does.
and over and over again.
Mhm.
but that's
Not a good. He's a
that's,
very
that's,
bad
the,
criminal.
that's the other realism about this movie too. I think is like he actually trusted Milo when Milo was like, "Okay, come bring the 70. We'll call it even." He was like, "Okay." He's so dumb.
Yeah, that was exceedingly dumb.
well, it's my old man said, you don't go into the criminal enterprise by being real smart.
But he
Yeah.
did
Most
keep
criminals
going.
are criminals because they can't figure out how to make a legitimate living. That's
Those
basically
scenes
it.
where he went to Milo's house were some of the ones I liked the most because, like, most movies, the character will be running the other direction, but this guy knows that's not really an option. I'm going to try to figure out a way to make
Yeah.
this right.
Yeah, I love
So I
And
got
that's
nothing.
I'm gonna go over there and talk to them and tell them.
Yeah,
I
because,
mean, the
because
first
I
thing
think
he
he
got to kill
understands
is he comes and he says, "I don't have it."
Yeah,
this
try to cut a
symbiotic
deal, maybe,
relationship between high-level drug dealer and mid-level drug dealer. Like there is something to be preserved there, which then gets us to that scene where they're kind of negotiating. Like, what do you got? How much? Give me. How much is your car worth? I'll take
Yeah.
your
Give me your wristwatch.
Like, I'll take your shitty wristwatch. Okay, how much? Like now, he's
What's
literally
that?
telling you,
500. Okay.
Yeah, 5.
I love that scene.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good stuff. Anyway, I guess we should.
I really liked. I just wanted to mention one
Go
other
ahead.
quick thing. I really liked the part where he just walks away when they're moving the fridge.
Mhm.
And they're
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's exactly who he
No,
is.
we're moving
He's
it now.
just
Dude,
like,
come back.
and it's
Yeah.
like, dude, you told him you were going to help move this fridge. The fridge is sitting right here. Like, he's obviously not gonna like
Yeah.
leave it sitting in the doorway of his restaurant for 3 days until you come back, dumbass. Like,
He's
Chad,
like, "Oh,
have
you
you seen,
right
Chad, have
now?"
you seen this before?
yeah,
right.
I saw this like 15 years ago and honestly didn't remember very much of it.
Wow.
I mean, I remember the basic plot points, but like I forgot Mads was in it, for example. Like I knew there was another guy, but it never really
He wasn't big back then. He was nothing
No.
back then. Right?
I'm the same.
I didn't recognize him, to be completely honest, with his
Well,
shaved
he
head.
wasn't- Obviously,
It
he
didn't
wasn't.
sink in.
And yeah, I'd forgotten he was in it too.
I love his America shirt that he's wearing the whole time too.
Yeah, that's
And how he has respect in English tattooed across
Yes.
the back of his
Yeah.
head.
Dude,
Yeah.
That's pretty random. Yeah, that's
I think that's why I didn't recognize him, is because I just wrote that guy off. I was just like, Jesus Christ, fuck that guy. So I didn't really look at him that hard, you
Kind of
know?
crazy
All their
Dave,
dumb
dude.
sex
Yeah.
conversations.
They're so
Well, you
dumb.
sound, Johnny.
Yeah,
is
yeah, it's just dick
like,
jokes and stuff, you know?
yeah.
Anyway, I'd give it a solid 1 thumb up. It's not a 2 thumbs up because I think it's
Yeah. Well,
Played out, but
I basically
I'm
approve.
here. I thought it was unremarkable, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.